have a meditation class, and then if anyone has a question afterwards, I'll be happy to try and answer. Please try and sit still. Classes start. Really important. You know, if people would show up at the meditation literally 2 minutes earlier, it would keep from disturbing the class. And I think it should be your responsibility. I mean, to say, okay, I got to be there by whatever time it is, wherever you live, and be there, you know, not come 2 minutes later, 3 minutes later, sending me text message, you can't get on the, you know, whatever it is. It just doesn't disturb the class. And I think it's, you know, kind of just responsibility, you know, of respecting the class and understanding that it really is important to be punctual. Because mostly I start the class doing a meditation. And if people turn up, and I usually wait to 2 or 3 minutes after, you know, the hour so that, you know, people can come. And if people come later, it interrupts everything. And I'm just asking you to be punctual and to respect the people that do come here on time and make a point of doing it. I think it's only the responsibility. It's a very important responsibility, because then I don't have to stop and talk like this, because I really don't want to talk like this. It's a waste of my time and it's very boring. So please, you know, if you want to be here, come 3 minutes earlier. I'm sure you can fit that into your schedule so that you're here on time and the class isn't disrupted. Okay, we'll have a meditation. Unmuted, everyone, and if anyone has a question, I'd be happy to try and answer it.
Stuart, I'd like to ask a question. It's Pat.
Yes.
A while ago, perhaps a month and a half ago, you spoke about Rudra Healing. I wonder if you would speak more about that.
About what?
Rudra Healing.
Rudra Healing.
Yes.
Well, that's what this work is, Pat. You know, one of the most important elements of what we practice is healing ourselves of all the hurts, the difficulties, the pain we've been through in life. You know, I mean, what is love? Love is healing up all the wounds and getting the heart open. You understand? Forgiveness is a way of healing all the wounds. And that's the very essence of what Rudy taught and what I try to teach, is building a chakra system that can truly heal you. You know, so many people come to this work really crippled, you know, and to me, it's like a miracle to see people get better and the work heals them. So I think that's what Rudra Healing is. It's totally a technique of breathing and of inner work that aligns the system of a human being and allows us to heal ourselves. And I think that's really one of the great aspects of what we do. Because, you know, we have to be kind of healthy. The heart has to be open, the mind quiet. We've got to be grounded inside in order for higher energy to come into us. Otherwise, it's got to battle through all these obstructions inside. So the process of doing the meditation, the process of absorbing Shakti, you know, of taking in the energy, you know, it's like food. It's like healing food, healthy food that fixes the inner being, that enables one to welcome God into their life without trying to transform higher energy into some kind of ego trip. I couldn't think of a better definition than Rudra Healing than that, Pat. Listen, hello, Barbara. You know, if you can't sit still and do the meditation, just leave, okay? Because you're disrupting the class by moving and fidgeting and doing what you're doing, okay? And I'm kind of tired of that, you know? I mean, anyway, look, let's get back to healing. Much more interesting talking about that. I mean, is it clear, Pat, what I'm talking about?
Yes, thank you.
You know, because it's an important thing to know that we as human beings, you know, I mean, look, I spent a lot of time around Rudy, really a lot of time around Rudy, and I listened to so many different aspects of his life and the difficulties he went through in his life, from the time he was 2 years old to the travail that he went through with Swami Muktananda. I heard the whole trip, the whole life, and everything was about transforming the difficulties, the pain, the suffering into love, into openness, into a connection with God. And to me, it was such an amazing lesson in healing. And it also brought about a period of my life where I began to do healing. He asked me to do it, you know, with people that used to come to him with cancer and stuff like that. So that became an extension of healing myself. You understand? You can't do these things in a healthy way if you don't heal yourself. I mean, what's the you know, in a doctor's oath, physician, heal thyself. I remember was a funny story. I was asked to go to a hospital in Staten Island, New York, and give a talk to a bunch of doctors and psychiatrists and social workers and all professional people. There must have been 150 people, 200 people sitting in the audience. And I'm up in front of all these people and I say, well, you know, all these big minds and intelligent people, what the hell do I talk about? So what came up, I heard this voice say, physician, heal thyself. And I spent a half hour, 45 minutes talking about how to heal other people, you first have to heal yourself. And boy, a lot of doctors were squirming in their chairs there, I'll tell you. But then a lot of them came up to me afterwards and said, thank you. That was really something wonderful to hear. That's one of the things that's missing in the medical profession. We're trying to heal everybody else, but we don't psychologically, physically, mentally, emotionally, sexually heal ourselves. Our work is about healing oneself. An extension of that work is you can heal other people. But first one has to heal himself. Because if you don't heal yourself, you know, there's just chaos inside. There's always going to be a little chaos. We need it because it reminds us that we have to heal ourselves. We have to continue to work on ourselves. We haven't arrived yet. And I'm sure, Pat, in your profession, you know, you have to deal with a lot of people's aches and pains and problems. And, you know, I mean, I don't envy that. I've had enough of it in my own life, but to have to deal with that every day is not easy. That's why you got to heal yourself. Otherwise, how are you going to deal with that? Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Hi, Stuart.
Yes, Larry.
Can you talk more about moving from a life that's measured by setting goals and achievement to just being present in the moment?
You know, there's no separation there, Larry. You know, whatever you do, whatever your goals are, whatever you want, in order to attain them, the only healthy way to attain them is learning how to be present in the moment. Because as I've said it many times, that kid in one of my books, 12 years old, was being driven crazy by his parents about what he's going to be when he's 30. And his, you know, kind of little wacky Uncle Joe says to the parent, look, let's help him become a successful 12-year-old. And I promise you, he'll be a successful 30-year-old. And this is true. We're always worried about this projected goal, you know, and never understanding that in order to achieve anything in life, we gotta make the moment work consciously for us. And when you make the moment work consciously, moment leads to moment, leads to moment, leads to moment. It's like a mala, you know, strung around your neck. Moment, 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 until one attains, generally not the goal you set out when you were 16 years old, but to something which represents some kind of success in the world. But it's that moment to moment that enables us to live with God each step of the way. When we're constantly projecting into the future, we're projecting into an illusion. It doesn't exist, for God's sake. It really doesn't exist. And it's almost like madness to think that we can make it exist by projecting mind's energy into the future. But if we get centered, grounded, balanced inside, we're open inside, we're connected to spirit and God, you understand? We are making each moment work. And then each moment we do whatever our job is, whatever our work is, we do it to the fullest our capacity in that moment. And by doing it that way, we ultimately attain a success in the world. We master the craft of living in the world. So there's no separation between living in the moment and attaining something in life. In fact, the two of them work together, because you'll never attain anything really in life unless you truly learn how to live in the moment. I mean, you know, when I was in the art business, which I fiddle around a bit in now, you know, but when I was really in it, you know, I used to meet a lot of really rich people and hugely successful people. And you know, they're all nuts. I mean, every single one of them. I mean, I had a client, I'll never forget this guy as long as I live. You know, he was a very big client of mine. Used to buy a lot of expensive Tibetan and Indian, no, Tibetan mostly art. And he was the biggest collector of purvas in the world. Purvas are these Tibetan ritual knives that usually have to do with dakini and, you know, female worship. And he had a cabinet full of them, must have spent $100,000 to $200,000 on these things. And he asked me to come up to his, to his apartment to see his collection. I went up there and I'm looking at the purvas, and they were really great ones, really good ones. And he hits me in the ribs. He says, Stuart, what do the Tibetans use these for? I mean, I couldn't believe it. I mean, I just looked at him and I said, are you kidding me? You have the best collection in the world and you don't know what they use them for? He said, no, I never really found out. I just like the objects. And that's kind of a metaphor for success in the world, you know? People attain success in a totally unconscious way in terms of being connected with God, you know? Spirit, with the essence of things, even what they're doing and why they're earning so much money and, you know, all of this power that they have, you know? So it's really a marriage of ambition with living in the moment. Does anyone else have a question you would like to ask? And these are all important things that are part of the healing process of Rudy's meditation practice. The things that he passed down to us that are so essential because they're based on experience and they're based on building a chakra system inside that is really highly developed. And that's the process of healing oneself. So we're no longer intimidated by fear, by insecurity, by all these problems that people, that manifest inside people because they haven't done any inner work that has enabled them to truly master this.
I have a question, Stuart.
Yes.
We mainly focus on the third chakra, and then there's some attention given to the heart space. Kind of what is it about the third chakra? Why aren't we splitting our attention amongst the different chakras?
Because in order for all the chakras to open, Wendy, you have to be rooted inside. And as soon as your mind drifts from the third chakra, you understand, instantly the whole rootedness in you disappears. So by keeping your attention, it's like a tree, it has roots, it has it has trunk, it has leaves, the tree of life, that's what we're building inside ourselves. But you've got to be rooted. And when the mind leaves the third chakra, the mind is like a surgical instrument that opens that chakra. And so what happens? You have the strength to open the heart. You have, it's like a flower. It needs roots, it needs a stem, and petals. The mind is then quiet. You can begin to receive knowledge and wisdom from the universe. Not intellectual knowledge, but knowledge that stems directly from a place that literally is outside of time and space. Real knowledge that gives you the ability to see what's real, what's an illusion, the ability to truly get the wisdom of God flowing inside you, to transform you, to help transform your consciousness inside. All of this is possible if we're rooted. Another element is we have to live in the world every day. Understand? And unless we're rooted, life has a tendency of being some kind of cosmic vacuum cleaner that sucks everybody's energy out of them. I'm sure you've experienced it. When you're grounded inside, you can do your karma, work it out with love, with joy, with happiness. You understand? You're not being sucked dry by somebody else's craziness in the world, by somebody else's politics, by somebody else's sexuality, by whatever it is that people use to take energy from each other. So that's why the mind, and then you bring like 5% of your attention to the base of the spine. And that will help to draw the energy there to activate Kundalini. And the way to open the heart is not bringing your mind there. It'll just get in the way. You're going to start analyzing the heart chakra. You open the heart by just simply feeling gratitude. Gratitude. Quickest, fastest way to open the heart. And then the whole chakra system is working. And we are grounded inside. We are embracing life, connected to spirit. You know, and the third element is the Kundalini, which is a very powerful force at the base of a human being's spine. And if you're grounded inside, when the Kundalini is activated, you know, you really have the grounding in order to allow that energy to rise without that energy burning you up. So there are three elements. Rudy never talked about this, but it took me years to learn this. There are three elements to this meditation. You know, embracing life, receiving spirit, and Kundalini. Each of these elements are very powerful. And if you're not centered and grounded inside, every single one of them will burn you up. They'll burn you up. They're too strong for people to deal with. So the whole key to this is getting rooted. That's the point in a triangle that connects the outer, the inner with the higher. I hope that's clear, because this is another element of Rudy's practice that a lot of people skip over and they don't know about. And I don't understand why. I spent 6 years with him having it beaten into my brains, you know? Really, literally beaten into my brains, this kind of teaching. And I don't know why people don't teach this, because it's absolutely essential in the development of one's inner life, in the healing of oneself, and ultimately in attaining spiritual enlightenment. Does anyone else have a question? And it also ultimately gives you the strength to let go. To allow the soul to separate and to become one with God. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? I mean, there might be other ways. I don't know them, but I know this works, you know, and that's why I do it. That's why I've continued to do it for so many years. It works. I've seen it transform myself. I've seen it transform so many people and change their lives and help them. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay. Well, it's good to ask questions. Look what comes. You know, it's amazing what comes. I didn't think about talking about this before the class. It's amazing. So God bless you all and thank you. And it's just a joy to be here for me and to share my life with you all. And there'll be a class on Sunday and I hope you all come. So bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome.